Welcome back to Pro Tour Hollywood. I'm Randy Bueller here with Brian David Marshall. Day one is in the books. It's time to wrap things up. What do you think? What are the big takeaways from day one?
Faeries?
Yeah?
Is as good as advertised.
That's fair. That's fair.
If we were to cut to the top 8 right now,
yep,
we would have 3 Faeries decks in the
Three Faeries decks in the top 8, including Stan Vandervelden. Stan Vandervelden, 8-0 with the Faeries deck. People were speculating how much of the field is it going to be. Brian and I thought earlier that it only looked like maybe 20%. It's actually 28%. There were 101 Faerie decks running this tournament, and they include first place Stan Vandervelden, Thomas Enveldsen, and Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa are sitting 3-4, also with Faeries. So 3 of the top 4, 3 of the top 8, it turns out.
2 losses between those 3 players.
But the big story for me, I tell you, that is Guillaume Wafo-Tapa. This man is on top of the game. I think without a question the best player in the world right now.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's absolutely fantastic. Doesn't seem to lose, and his team got together at Nantes. You got the Ruel brothers. You got Guillaume Wafo-Tapa. You've got the key in my mind, and the designer responsible for the deck they played, Manuel Boucher. Yeah. How much of a role is this kid on right now? Designs the winning deck from Valencia, wins the team competition at Worlds, top 16's KL. Now he's got Guillaume equipped with an 8-0 deck, and Manuel himself is on X2 sitting in 16th place.
And the Ruel brothers are both also X and 2.
X and 3, X and 3. They both lost the last round.
They lost the last round.
So
okay.
5-3, 5-3. But that deck's doing spectacular. So now what is the deck? We did a deck tech. Well, we'll see it tomorrow.
The deck is, the way he described it, it's sorcery speed threats early to counter aggro decks.
Okay.
So you have like Kitchen Finks and Wall of Roots,
right,
blocking up the ground. And then as you get into the Faerie decks, he has bigger spell instants. So he's got Cryptic Command. He's got Makeshift Mannequin. His sorcery speed also includes Mulldrifter for card draw.
Sure.
It's all tied together with a Vivid Land Reflecting Pool, mana base.
I love that mana base. You can do anything with that mana base.
Yeah.
8 Vivid Lands and 4 Reflecting Pools. You could do, like, you could put Una and Kitchen Finks in the same deck.
Yeah, it's like mana ramp into Una.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very strange looking deck. At least one person said that is the weirdest looking deck I've ever seen in my life. As
it might
he was getting smashed by an Una with 2 Wall of Roots in play. Yeah, Kitchen Finks and Una side by side.
Yeah, the deck looks awesome though. I mean, it looks crazy, but it's actually very elegant. I mean, you can really see how it's set up against this field. It's got this for Faeries, it's got this for aggro. It's really well set up. And Guillaume Wafo-Tapa as the pilot, who knows? I mean, people are starting to wonder, can he go undefeated? Can he just run the entire table? We'll see.
It definitely has that kind of magical feeling. I mean, as you watch him, he just does everything right. There was a play, I thought it was very interesting. He was getting Mistbind clicked.
Yeah.
He has Una in play, and he has about 9 lands.
Okay.
Now, Una lets you pay Dimir X to mill X cards from your opponent's or your library.
Right.
Name a color. For every card revealed of that color, put a token into play.
Right.
It's pretty obvious that's what he's going to do.
Right.
He gets Mistbind clicked, and he's got all these lands and all these choices, and it takes him a couple of minutes, to really decide what color mana he's putting into his mana pool. Most people, I think, would look at that situation and just go, okay, I put a black in my mana pool and whatever the rest is.
Right.
But he's really thinking about it because of what he's going to draw, and it doesn't.
Oh, because in his draw phase.
It didn't matter on that turn.
Okay, but he's floating through his draw phase, so he could draw something relevant.
You just see that he's so locked in, and he's just thinking about really thinking through every decision. It's a real learning experience to watch him play Magic, as it is with any of the great players.
A lot of people are looking at this top 8 and they're like, okay, who are the other 7 going to be? I mean, I started hearing that beginning of the day. Now he's sitting on 8-0. So, what's the other deck that seemed to be doing really well to me was the Elf deck. Yeah, there's 3 Elf decks in this top 8 right now, right?
There's and even more below that in the top 16. The Elf decks are really kind of heirs to the decks we've seen at Worlds.
Sure.
So they've got Imperious Perfect, they've got Ren Run's Vanquisher,
right.
They've got Nameless Inversion.
Right, they tend to be black, of course.
Yeah, they tend to be green-black. They're pretty straightforward. They do very well against Faeries.
Yeah. Shuhei Nakamura is running one of these, running an Elf deck. You've got a lot of talent in this top 8, a lot of talent in this whole top 16. The other guys hanging out in the top 16, Darwin Castle and Rob Dougherty are both in the top 16 right now, running a Tattermunch Maniac deck.
Yeah, it's really just a green-red aggro deck.
Yeah.
It's a dial down a notch in terms of drops from, say, the deck that we talked about, the New York guys playing.
Oh yeah, sure. So this is the Jackal Pups. That's what.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of talent hanging out at X2 too. Former world champion Makihito Mahara, Manuel Bucher we talked about, Luis Scott Vargas, Kenji Samura, Chris Lockman, Nico Boni, another member of that Swiss team.
Right.
So tons of talent.
Also want to point out, Rage Forger is still very much in the tournament.
That's what you're rooting
Yoshi
for.
Ikeda, X and 2, he's still there. Also, you made a point. Zach Hall is X and 2. And what happens if Zach Hall goes on and wins this tournament?
You think the frilly yellow blouse becomes the lucky shirt? He starts having to wear it because that's what he wins with? Could
Possible.
be. If you haven't got a chance to take a look at the video, it's worth checking out. Last round, as usual, bloody. Tons of bubble matches in the last round that you usually see. Dave Williams came back from a rough start. Oh, he loses the last game. Loses to Demigod of Revenge, actually. Osip Lebedovic loses the last game. John Finkel gone from this tournament. The Merfolk let him down. He lost, I think, 3 of the last 4 to fall short in the last round.
Playing, I mean, got to be experience of a lifetime. I was talking about playing in Pedro. Played John in the last round.
First Pro Tour ever.
Pro Tour. And like, you go to sit down in your last round of the day.
One more win, just want to play some more Magic tomorrow.
And you look at the pairings and you see John Finkel next to you. And you have to check. You take a piece of paper, you run it up there to make sure the level's correct. It can't be. No, you're playing John Finkel.
Beat him.
He stayed calm and he beat him. It's got to be an exciting first
Absolutely.
experience.
Jelger Wiegersma got knocked out in the last round. Sebastian Thaler got knocked out in the last round. A couple rounds after, got matched up with Kenji Samura again. I've been following Pro Tour coverage for a while. These guys tend to get matched up. They tend to get matched up deep with big stakes. Kenji got the match. He's 4-2 lifetime. And Sebastian lost the last round as well, so he will not be joining us on day 2. But a bunch of guys with their back against the wall did get through. Gabriel Nassif, to the surprise of absolutely no one, continues to win. He puts another day 2 on his resume, playing Tim Aiton's Goblin deck. Zvi Malshewitz got through in the last round. Paul Cheon got through in the last round.
Zvi went 0-3, 5-0.
Yeah.
To make day 2.
That's true. Steve Sadin got through from the same group, winning with Shivan Dragon. Shivan Dragon hits the table. People are just enjoying Magic.
I've never seen a guy happier to be knocked out of day 2 contention than Steve Sadin's opponent as he's getting beaten by Shivan Dragon. He just had such a good time.
Right. Carlos Ramal running a Faeries deck got through in the last round. Tokuyo Usawa, Shota Gasaoka got one with their backs against the wall.
Also with the Rage Forgers.
And Raphael Levy took a feature match from Willie Edel. So Hall of Famers through. Decks, you got the Faeries, you got some awesome decks, you got some awesome players.
You got some Doran, you got a couple decks.
Day 2 is going to be fun. We'll be here for the tournament center. It'll be Brian David Marshall, Randy Buehler. Check back tomorrow. We'll find out who's going to make the top 8, who's going to be playing on Sunday.